Babysitting can seem like the perfect gig. Watch some kids, eat some snacks, and make a little money. But what if your night of babysitting turned into a nightmare? Tonight we're diving into the scariest true stories ever told, Babysitting Horror Edition. These are real stories shared by babysitters who will never forget the terror they faced. Let's get started. Story 1. The Man in the Window. Our first story comes from a babysitter who was looking after a 3-year-old boy in a quiet neighborhood. The house was cozy, and everything seemed normal, until the boy pointed to the window and said, "The man is back." She laughed it off, thinking it was just his imagination. But then, as the boy played with his toys, she noticed something. The window had smudges on it, as if someone had been pressing their hands against the glass. She decided to lock all the doors and close the curtains, just to be safe. A few hours later, while the boy was asleep, she heard a faint tapping sound. It was coming from the window. Gathering her courage, she peeked through the curtain. Her heart nearly stopped. A man was standing there, his face pressed against the glass, grinning at her. She called the police, but by the time they arrived, the man was gone. They found footprints outside the window leading into the woods. To this day, the babysitter wonders who he was and what he wanted. Story 2. The Creepy Doll. Our second story takes place in a large, creaky house where a babysitter was hired to watch a 5-year-old girl. The girl had a porcelain doll she carried everywhere, calling it her best friend. The babysitter thought the doll was a little creepy, but she didn't say anything. After putting the girl to bed, she went downstairs to watch TV. That's when things got weird. She heard giggling and assumed the girl was still awake. But when she went to check, the girl was sound asleep. The doll, however, had been moved. It was now sitting on the floor, facing the door. Later that night, as she was cleaning up in the living room, she felt something watching her. She turned around and froze. The doll was now sitting on the couch, staring at her. Terrified, she called the parents, who returned home immediately. When she told them what happened, the mother turned pale and whispered, "We've been meaning to get rid of that doll." Story 3. The Silent Caller. Our final story is about a babysitter who thought she was in for an easy night. The kids were asleep and the house was quiet. But when her phone started ringing, things took a terrifying turn. She answered, but no one spoke. Just silence. Shrugging it off as a prank, she hung up. But the calls kept coming. Every few minutes, the same unknown number, the same silence. Then she received a text message. It read, "I'm outside." She thought it was a joke until she glanced at the back door. The blinds were slightly open and she saw movement in the yard. She locked all the doors and called the parents, who told her to stay inside and wait for them to get home. But the messages didn't stop. "I'm coming closer," one read, followed by, "I see you." When the parents arrived, they found the babysitter terrified but unharmed. The police searched the yard and found footprints leading to the back gate, but no sign of the person who had been watching her. Babysitting is supposed to be simple. Watch the kids, lock the doors, and wait for the parents to come home. But as these stories show, you never know who or what might be watching you. Which story gave you the biggest chills? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying tales. And next time you're babysitting, remember, keep the doors locked and stay vigilant. You never know what's lurking in the dark.